Shut the door.
Oh, we can't. It has to be open door, open meeting.
Okay, this is the August 11th meeting of the Dudley Cultural Council. Denise Driscoll, co-chair.
Marilyn Kramer's co-chair.
Nancy Roy, treasurer.
Computer.
Joan Sumphy, secretary. Joan Brinker, member.
Absent are Audrey Resner and Rose Smoker. Okay. One thing that I do want to mention before we get into the minutes is, I don't know if you've all heard, but we have finally been level funded for this year. There was a lot of publicity about what happened was the governor vetoed the line item, brought us down to a 1994 funding level, cut us by 55%. Our senators and representatives overrode the veto, and we are now going to be level funded. So
Which
we can,
before it was we were getting an increase, but now I guess we have
right.
$5,000 roughly.
They had initially put in the budget for an increase, but at least we're level funded and not cut by 55%.
Which would have been a disaster.
So what that means is that basically we'll have about the same amount of money to work with. We should know the amount of funding, I believe she said by the end of the month.
Yeah.
Okay, excuse me. Joan, if we can go over the minutes of the June 9th meeting.
Kind of long.
Has everybody read them?
Yes, I read them because you read them.
Okay, so if we've read them, maybe if we just have comments, we probably don't need to read everything.
Probably not. I think we'd be okay. But just that Denise picked up just a couple, maybe just one adjective that needs to be changed.
Okay.
I have a suggestion down under new business D2. I don't believe that it was decided that the survey sheets would be available at all these places. I think it was suggested.
Okay.
And then we did make a decision, and I don't believe it was at the meeting, but I think Marilyn and I took it offline and we decided to do it at the event at the Black Tavern.
And it went very well.
I thought you
And
were
we're
going to
done
multiple
for 3 years.
leave sheets in places.
No.
Oh, okay.
We controlled it better than that. We gave it to them. It worked very nicely.
And then the only other thing.
But leave the rest of it if you
Yes.
could. Okay.
Yes, those were, because we had discussed all those different venues. Then on the next page, under number E3, I believe you meant to add another, a little bit more, because it says, that last sentence, after that PDF panel book will be compiled, and we can either view the requests electronically from MCC's PDF, or download and print them.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had it, and then I don't know what, I lost it.
Good. Any other comments on the minutes?
Thanks. And I keep misspelling Joanne's last name, but you keep putting an extra N. The second N is inaccurate. Missing at least 2 places.
So for us, let's accept
Okay.
them.
Can anybody make a motion to accept the minutes as read? Or I'm sorry, with the
Corrections.
with the corrections.
I move to accept. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we'll move on to the treasurer's report.
Okay. Treasurer's report, August 11th, 2016. Our balance as of the last meeting on June 9th, 2016 was $3,081.17. Interest for June, 78 cents, and July, 65 cents, totaled $1.43. The new total was $3,082.60. Payment to David Neal for the Fanfare Brass Concert was $670. That leaves us a balance of $2,412.60. I am still waiting for the reimbursement form from the Dudley Grange for the Rhode Island Fiddlers performance at the Strawberry Festival in June. I was told he's waiting to get the canceled check back so that he can send us a copy.
Oh, okay.
Grants 42-1 under the petticoats, 42-12, Mark Mandeville, Rayanne Richards, and 42-15, things that go bump in the night, have not yet been performed. Grant 42-7, Silver Tsunami, is ongoing, and I have not received a reimbursement form as yet from the Audio Journal. These grants total $2,400, and so that would leave us $12.60.
What about Dudley? It's going on Sunday, the 14th.
That's right, I forgot to include that one.
Is that, I don't remember how much it was, but,
I think that was $350.
so you have enough?
Whatever, it works out.
Okay.
I did it 3 times.
So the grants that total 2,400, those aren't the outstanding, right?
Those are the ones that have not been
Right,
performed
no, you
yet.
haven't.
The only one that's,
So if our balance is 3,000 and these are 2,400, do we have enough money left to cover?
She said yes.
we will have $12.60 left.
After we
forgot
take
to
out
include
Dudley too? Okay,
Dudley.
gotcha.
Yeah,
You included him when you were figuring it, but you
I
didn't put
did,
him on the
forgot to
sheet.
type him in.
Okay,
Right.
great.
$12 and,
60 cents. If you look,
60.
go back to the top,
okay.
it should say 24.12.60. Some people have it, some don't. I forgot to put that in on some of the
Okay.
Town accountant Debbie Thibodeau has completed the annual report and sent it to the Massachusetts.
Oh, that's
Cultural
great, so it's
Council
early. They
office.
don't have to remind us.
I left a copy for the co-chairs,
Got it.
and it's 3 pages. It's all filled out. You know, she does it for us now.
That's great.
I have an error on the minutes.
Okay.
I put the Board of Selectmen Secretary, Deb Thibodeau, was created at the DCC website. Who created it?
She's the,
She's the town accountant.
yes.
Yes.
Okay,
So
so
I
we,
thought something was wrong because I thought her name was Michelle.
Oh, yeah,
The,
Michelle
is the secretary.
yes, for the select.
I didn't make copies for everybody, but I have a copy of the letter that Deb got from the state on how to fill out the form. So if anybody's interested, it's, you know, it's here.
okay, any
So,
further
yeah.
discussion or questions about the treasurer's report?
No.
Looks great.
Okay, make a motion to accept the treasurer's report with the correction.
I have a question though. You're going to redo this though, Nancy, and add that other.
I will.
Yeah, okay.
Okay,
That
so-
that would make it make sense.
We need
Right,
a motion
before
to
we pass
accept
it
with
in.
the correction.
I make a motion, we accept it with the correction.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, old business. I wanted to ask how the banner distribution was going, but Audrey is not here today. Has anyone been asked to take the banner, or has Audrey been in touch with anyone in terms of the banner? I know I've brought it a couple of times. I let Audrey know where it was.
It's at the tavern now.
Yes.
Then it needs to go from the tavern back to the library for Mark Mandeville.
So the tavern's going to have it on Sunday.
Yes, I will be there.
Okay. I think we might. It's supposed to rain.
It's supposed to be
Might
in
be
the barn, I read.
Oh,
Okay.
We'll see.
So, are you going to take it from the?
I'll take it Sunday. I'll get it to the library for Mark Mandeville. Did we have a date for him?
I can look while we're.
I don't believe that.
I know it just said September in the list.
Oh,
that
I don't
had.
have it.
I
No,
think
you
I
don't
read
have
the
one.
eight someplace. I read the 8 someplace.
Oh,
but I
did
don't
you?
know where.
Oh,
I
that'd
don't
be
know
good.
where.
I don't have that here. Because if it wasn't on his original application.
Because I think it
No, it
did
wasn't.
she send us an email about it? I don't know.
I think he tried to
thought
get in touch with Karen Wall.
The reason why it's stuck because of the
But-
state election day.
I don't think she had an exact date
She
at the
might-
time.
I
either.
don't think she'll be at the time.
That's why
Oh, okay. So you think it's the 8th of September?
I think, but I'm not sure.
From what I gather, it's okay to do it like the month of September 2016. The state isn't that,
No, they don't need an exact date.
it doesn't need an exact date.
Or they could even say spring of 2016.
Yeah, a fall, so that works.
After the library program, Mark Mandeville, it goes back to
up
the tavern
Okay.
And what date is that?
for, that's September and October.
What's the September date?
I'm not sure.
Okay. That's all right. I'll check with Karen to see if she has a date
On Mark Manton.
on that.
I think the one, petticoats is September 15th, right?
15th, yes, is what I have.
I don't have an exact date. And then things that go bump in the night is October 20th.
Actually, I have a sheet that was handed out about the upcoming, about the programs, and it says who's going to be in charge of the
Banner.
banner.
Yeah, it seems like we're kind of taking care of it ourselves,
Yeah,
although
so-
I
yeah.
think
Audrey.
Audrey, thank you.
She happened to be away at the time that she was supposed to do it, so.
And
Denise stepped
everybody's
in and-
filled in, so it's
Well,
not-
actually, the role that we had determined that she had agreed to was not necessarily for her to have to be the person that brings the banner everywhere, but to coordinate, to be sure that somebody is bringing it and be aware of where it is.
keep track of it.
Yeah,
But
I've
it
got-
sounds like that it's,
I've got NR
going to
next
the
to
right
everything
places.
but the library for Mark Mandeville. Probably
Right.
because you weren't sure.
I will follow
today.
up with Karen.
And then the only thing, now, the audio journal,
Yeah, I was just looking at that.
do I have to write to them and?
I would hope always, they're usually good about submitting their application, their reimbursement forms.
And basically, according to what we heard last night, the applicants are responsible for getting that information.
Yeah, there's really a
and
lot that they're
following
more
up.
responsible for than I think we even realize. Where we might chase them for something, they need to take care of, do their part so that we can do our part. And neither, they don't cross over, and neither do we.
I have a question or maybe a comment about the reimbursement forms. I don't, when we get to the point where
Yeah.
we're going to write our own little set of
Oh,
rules
yes.
and regulations,
Okay, good. So then, are we all set? We accepted the treasurer's report.
Yeah.
And we're down to banner.
With corrections.
Right, and then the survey?
Yes, okay, so Marilyn and I went out to the tavern. There was a performance on July 17th, and we got there early. We did one-on-one surveys. We handed them to people, waited for them to complete them, and took them back. That way, we didn't have to worry about trying to collect them anyplace. And we had very good response. We had 34 respondents. I have not as yet compiled the results, but I will be doing that this weekend because we need to look at those results when we set our council priorities. But it went well. Everybody was very happy to apply and to do it for us.
The check box.
It was, yeah.
That was good.
It was worked great, that's right. I
Yep,
forgot
it
you
was
did
quick,
forms. That was
and
great.
nobody was overwhelmed with it.
Yeah.
People were great.
People wrote in their own comments.
Joan
in
wrote a
some
whole big
cases.
story.
Did I really? I don't know. I'm not good on spur of the moment.
Okay. Is there any other old business that we need to take care of? Okay, moving on to new business. The online application process. Marilyn and I attended a meeting last night in Framingham, and it was quite interesting. It gave us a lot more insight, and some of our questions were answered. One question being, we cannot choose to go all paper. We have to accept online applications this year. We can choose to accept paper applications in addition to online. However, they are not recommending that we do that. And some of the reasons, and I actually, they showed us the application. It's actually here, but I didn't print it out because it's so small that you can't really, it was a PowerPoint presentation that you barely can read. However, it is available online. This sample application is available online. You can go in, you can look at it. The questions and the application itself is basically the same as what it was on paper when they downloaded it, when they filled it out themselves. One of the big advantages here is that they can't leave anything blank. That is a required field to be completed. So a lot of times we would get applications and they wouldn't put this or they wouldn't put that. the application cannot be submitted. Once they go to submit it, if there's a missing piece of information, we'll tell them they have to go back and complete this particular item. One thing that I should tell you is that they had a training session in Northampton and they had one in Framingham for applicants.
Yeah, yesterday afternoon.
Applicants were thrilled. They have been asking for this for years.
So they say. So we'll see.
And they actually were thrilled. And one other thing that I have to say about that is that I attended one of the concerts, the children's concerts at the library a couple weeks ago, and it was Tinkner. And I got to speak with him afterwards, and he was really looking forward to the online application.
Yeah. I think because they probably fill out a lot of them.
Right.
They don't have to mail them. The deadline can be a little, I mean, they can by the
fill
way,
out.
it's the 17th this year because the 15th is a Saturday.
Right.
They can do it till 11:59 p.m. on, and it still goes through, which they're hoping they won't. But I guess they feel more, it's going to be more flexible.
Now the other thing
Send
is,
to many people.
And they can't
Really
rubber
all
stamp
at
it
once.
either.
Right.
They can't send one to every single town. Sometimes you'll see every town gets an application. Well, that's fine, but they got to fill out 329 on
They
93.
do have to
Right.
fill out separate ones.
right, they cannot use the same, they cannot just say, okay, this
Photocopy
application is
and
now for
change
these
them.
10 councils. They have to fill out a separate application for each
I
council.
think it's 393 or 329.
329.
329 towns and
Right.
cities.
The other advantage is that they have to answer, before they even start the application, the first page is an eligibility requirement. And so they have to complete that. One of the questions is, are you a Massachusetts resident? And if they say no, they're automatically disqualified. They can't go any further.
That
So
was a
that,
question
And it
I
says,
had
do you
to-
have
I wanted to
do you
ask.
have a venue? Is one of the preliminary questions too. I believe, isn't it?
I don't think so.
I thought it was.
I'm not, I have to go back.
Well,
Yeah.
anyway.
But anyway, and one of the questions is, have you been doing this or performing this particular thing for at least a year? That's one of the eligibility questions. So there's maybe, about 10 eligibility
Okay,
questions? Those are online too.
It takes into consideration discrimination.
Right.
Is this a capital
Yeah, capital expenditure.
Are you related to anybody? You need to recluse yourself, blah, blah. So all of those things, and if any of that comes up, the application doesn't go to the next step.
And it was interesting because somebody in the audience pointed out that as you go through, you can't just say yes, yes, yes. All the answers are not yes. Okay, so they have to actually read the question, which is good because some of the right answers are no.
Is a lot tricky.
Right. So that will eliminate our having to look at that part of it, that piece of it, because we know if we get the application electronically, it's already been
Yeah, it's going to be perfect, supposedly,
it's
according
gonna be
to the
reviewed.
guidelines.
already for those things. We don't have to look at that. The other thing is there'll be no legibility issues because everything is typed, okay? All the data goes into the annual report that Marilyn and I have to submit at the end of the year to the town. Everything is all right there, so we don't have to manually do all that. The other thing is that what they told us is that if a council does allow paper in addition to electronic, that form will not be available to the applicant online. They have to come directly to us.
And
We have to
make
print
that
it out, and we have to make that available to them.
Also, once it's submitted, there's no changes.
I'm confused about that part.
Okay, so yeah, up until now, if they wanted a form to fill out to submit, they
Yeah.
would go online, they download it, and print it out and fill it out and mail it to us.
Now, what were we saying? I forgot to say about the manuals, though, that they,
That would be
I thought
if we choose to allow them.
it's not recommended.
It's not, the council doesn't recommend that. The Mass Council does not recommend that local councils do it.
Do both.
Right.
You got to do one.
It's our choice. However, they feel that it will be more of a burden on us. As one
Because you
example.
have to track it.
You have to track it, you have to print it, you have to have it in
Make sure that-
addition to your panel book to review. And you have to you have to make that form available personally to them.
So they would have to we would either have
So
to
either
mail
we
it to
would,
them,
or we'd have
they
to
would have to
talk to
provide a
town
place.
clerk and say it's available at the desk, you know, something like that. Because they're not going to be able to download it as they have in the past. Okay.
And also, just FYI, this is just the dummy year in a way. They said this is a pilot.
It's a pilot.
They're going to be changing it again, so.
Well, based on the feedback.
Right.
You know,
See how it goes.
and just like any new program, there will be glitches. These things will happen. Their plan is that the cutoff date, deadline is October 17th at midnight. If it comes in at 12:01 on the 18th, it's not accepted. And we won't see those, so we don't have to worry about them coming in late.
You know what was interesting? They made that example of somebody whose application got lost and it showed
Right.
up 2 months down the road and they reconvened. It must have been the date was right.
It had to have been an appeal, right.
It must have, yeah, because, yeah.
They were giving examples of things that can happen with paper, that, you know,
And-
things
and
get lost
with
in the
computers,
mail.
Something can get stuck in space.
Yeah,
You
well,
know,
this
something can
particular,
send you
But
something
see,
and it
then
doesn't
they-
go right through.
But then they go back, the applicant can go back and see it, see that it's been processed, see that it's been accepted, you know. They have a page there where they can review all of their applications.
Okay.
The downside, well, I'm not sure that it's a downside. Once that panel book, once it's all compiled, they will have it to us. They're saying November 1st. They're hoping to get it sooner, but they're putting themselves at November 1st just because it's the first year that they do this, and they just want to be sure that they have enough time to compile everything. All of us will get an email link sending us to a link where our PDF panel book will be located. That will include, it'll look just like this. I don't know if you have a chance to see this, but it'll look just like that. That's a sample. That's a sample of obviously just 2 or 3. What we can choose to do as a council at that point is either say, everybody bring in your laptops and we're going to review these online, or we can choose to use administrative funds if we need to, and print it out, and print out a copy for everybody. And have those available, as we've done in the past, available to review beforehand, then come in and review as a group
which they did think was a good idea, that everybody
Yes.
look everything over before the meeting.
before they come to their voting meeting.
Which we've always done.
Yes.
So.
And so, the thing is Marilyn and I were talking about the job of printing, but it's going to be one packet, and if it's got, I don't know, 50, 60 pages in it, it's one packet, and so we print it, and we get 7 copies. In the past, we've had to print them all individually anyway.
And not always all at once, because they're not all together.
Right. And
This way they're
and
all
we
going to
have
be together
And we have
all
to
at once.
unstaple them and pick out what we need.
So this is probably
I
more
think,
efficient.
personally, I think it's a good thing.
The other thing is they send reminders out to the applicants to let them know, hey, you didn't complete this form, you're going to carry this out and send it, or what are you doing with it?
Right.
They all got reminders about the date changing from the 15th to the 17th, so they're keeping track. They're also very happy to report that they'll be able to divide, they'll know exactly how many music, how many dance, because dance is a new
Right.
thing in there. They've
For the
expanded
recording.
the categories.
They've expanded the categories.
So there's not just 4 or 5, there's
Right.
like 6, 7,
there's
there's quite a few.
And you can see that online too on the sample.
There's
application.
multidisciplined, which I thought was good.
It's multidisciplinary.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what you mean by the reminder to the applicants for forms
Okay,
not
when the
received.
applicant, say I'm filling out an application and I don't have time to finish it, so you can leave it in a draft mode.
Okay.
You save it and then you can go back to it. Well, sometimes maybe somebody might forget that they didn't finish it. So if they see that something is still in draft mode before the deadline, they'll send a reminder and say, did you mean to complete this?
They're
Did you forget?"
estimating 13,000 applications are out there.
Right.
13,000 that they're going to handle for
Right.
329
And
towns.
hopefully they're not
So
all
it's a
going to
big
come in on the last day.
undertaking. Yeah, hopefully.
Because then there'll be a computer.
But they're ready for it. There's a helpline that they're encouraging the applicants to call in and have questions. I think we still call our reps, but
Yeah, we do. What impressed me too, which I didn't realize that they did, maybe you guys didn't notice, that they have gathered email addresses from all the information that we've submitted.
Because you have to
To
give an
them.
email address on when you're
On-
submitting the grant
When you're submitting the
applications.
grant applications.
Yeah, when you enter them in.
And so they gathered all that. So anybody who's ever applied to us has been contacted by them.
I understand that because Bob Duchamp from the tavern,
From the tavern.
you know, had applied for one of our grants.
Yeah.
He received a letter from the council, you know, to write to your representative or senator.
Oh, yes.
You know,
Yeah.
requesting that you notify them and
They
say,
were really,
Right.
really,
you know,
they,
Yes.
we all
and I'm
did a good
thinking,
job.
well, how did they get Bob's?
That's
But
how.
that's
Because
how.
it's out.
Yep.
It's out
Yeah.
there. You probably knew I was in Manila.
Maybe.
So what we need to do, does anybody have any other questions about the process or what it's going to look like or anything that we can help answer? I'd advise you to go online and actually look at it. Like I said, the sample packet is here. This is what we're going to get. And I mean, obviously it'll be much bigger. Oh, and it's limited. But you know how sometimes they send us
That's another point.
all kinds of attachments and posters and pictures and
CDs.
and unless the local council requires it, the Mass Council does not require anything other than this application. So if we say we want a resume attached, then that will be a requirement for Dudley. They'll have to submit it. However, they're only allowing 3 additional pages in addition that can be attached to,
original application.
right, to the original application. So we're not going to have applications with 10 pages in them each. We're going to have applications. The thing, somebody was concerned about that, and they felt that, well, what if the council is requiring this, and this, and it's going to be 5 pages? What they said that they could do is, within one document that they're attaching, they can provide a link to another document
So that we can look at
so
it.
that we can look at it.
Whether we
But it
print
won't
or
be
not.
printed out in paper. So,
Everything is.
but we,
computer.
as a council, have never had that kind of a requirement
Yeah.
for resumes, for posters, for past,
Some
for
of them
pictures.
are
Some of
really,
them-
they said Cambridge, for example, required, well, it was the only
Yeah.
one that was very
all
bizarre.
kinds of pictures.
They wanted, they
Yeah.
wanted pictures, the Cambridge Council had very specific guidelines.
Right.
Most of them do not. Some of them do, it's not specific about the venue issue. If you have a place, it's up to the town to say, we need a letter that says,
Oh.
hey,
Yeah.
you can have it at my place, and you can have it on June 1st,
Right.
2017. I think that can be a specific requirement
Yes,
of our
it's a
council, or it cannot be.
Right.
But last year, I remember we had to get one from the senior citizens, senior citizens.
They sent us one, but I don't
Senior
know if it
center.
was, it's not because we required it.
No, but somehow I
But
think.
wasn't there somebody who applied and they didn't have a venue and then they went to the senior center?
I think that's how it
And asked
worked.
if they
I think
could-
maybe we called Jennifer on that, and she said you need to have the letter. Maybe they prefer it. I don't know, but anyway.
But they basically said that unless you require it as a local council, you don't even have to require that there's a venue. But if that's your, and which is one that we've always had, which I think is a good
Yeah,
one.
which venue was really good.
Okay.
That would keep them from being, from getting their request in then, if they have a.
Correct.
That would be a no-no. They couldn't. We
Well,
required
we would
that we have-
reject it.
The,
meeting.
you know what? Is the venue a required field? That's on the application.
It might be.
On ours?
No, on the, that's how we could find out. I can't read it on this. so we
Well, I
have
got
to-
this thing.
Yes. See, this doesn't tell us.
The
This
ones
doesn't
that
tell
are
us
starred
what
are
is
usual deal. If it's got an asterisk by it, you have to fill it in. If it doesn't, it's elective. So we can't tell you from this whether or not, where will the project take place is starred by the state or not.
You know, we can look at that. Because the other thing that they told us is when we're developing our local, what's now called, we'll get into that with council priorities, is they don't want you to repeat the state guidelines. in your local guidelines. So if it's already a state guideline, because it's already there on another page, they don't want you to repeat that on your local guideline page. Those are just ones that you develop in addition.
That's about it.
Okay, so any other questions about?
I'm sure you're going to have questions, because
Yeah.
we are, but for now, that's an overview.
But I think it'd be helpful if everybody goes online onto the website and looks at it.
Does everybody have the call letters?
So, I guess we need to make a motion. We need to make a motion to see if we're going to move forward with all electronic, or are we going to continue to accept paper applications in addition to electronic?
I think it's in our best interest. I'll motion that to go all electronic. I don't think we need to compromise and make it a mess.
Because we would be responsible for getting them a paper application.
A, and B, tracking the whole thing, getting it, we would enter it online, we would have to make sure that all the dots and Ts and all that were taken care of. I think it's a hassle we don't need, since the state's got a very nice program. How it works, let's hope it works 100%. I'm sure it's
For
going to have
sure,
some.
there's going to be hiccups.
Yes.
Absolutely.
But for the most part, I
Did you
think
get a deal for other councils if they would, you're looking at all
some people were
electronic?
cheering.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Yeah, actually,
and if
it-
you have an applicant that is applying to various councils and they're all doing electronic, then you would,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I think in this day and age, it's.
yeah.
And where they sent out, they were pretty
don't want
firm
to-
about their recommendation to not accept
Right,
paper.
right.
Yeah.
And they said, you know, if you have a highly unusual circumstance, you might want to consider. But other than that,
So would we,
You know what's another question? If suppose we elect not to now, and next year we have a good circumstance,
yeah, that's what I'm saying, we want it back.
I think
And
the
leave it
state
open.
would work with you on it.
I'm,
But I don't think we should.
where
Make
this
it
is a
happen.
pilot program, I think they have the option of perhaps next year coming back and saying, okay, no more paper.
Yeah,
Period.
Or this is, I think, to the transition year.
right.
Okay, we'll see.
So,
I think time will tell.
okay, so we have a motion on the table to accept electronic only. Do we have a second?
Second.
In favor?
Aye.
Against? Okay, we will accept electronic only. Now, that takes us to the next item, which is the publicity, because we have to make everybody aware of that. We will post that on our page, on our council priority page, that, oh no, I think if we accept electronic, we don't have to post it. We have to
Right.
post it if we were to accept paper,
It
then we
says-
would have to say that.
It says all applications shall come through the online application system unless a local council chooses to accept paper applications in addition. If a council chooses to accept paper applications, they must notify applicants in their council profile by September 1st. Approval and denial notices, reconsideration requests, and modification requests can be emailed or mailed via hard copy. So
We don't have to
if
do
you're
it.
accepting paper, you have to put it in. If you're not,
you
it's a
don't have to.
given.
You
You
have to
have
say
to
it.
do only online.
Now-
Would you have a link on our website to go to the
Yeah,
mass?
Oh, yes.
So they, okay.
They won't be able to get an application though.
No, there's a link right on the page, on the main page.
On the LCC?
Yes.
The local?
Yes,
Right.
and it says, LCC, I think, member, and then it says, the other one right next to it says applicant.
Okay,
When they hit applicant,
Oh,
it
you're
takes
good,
them
yeah.
into the process.
okay. I know what you're talking
Yeah.
about.
The other thing that we didn't mention is that this year, something new is on regarding the letters that we send out, the approval and or denial letters. They can be emailed. So if we choose to do them by email, and that's not something we have to decide right now, that's just a process.
Right.
But we can choose to send them email, which saves postage, and, you know, we can do that. And do them, and we can,
Be like paying your bills online.
right.
Yeah,
We can download, we can export information
yeah.
from the information that they've entered into the system, and we can do a mail version.
Yeah.
So if we have somebody that can do
You.
that.
Not
that,
more.
yeah, I'll have to learn.
We'll go
We we can choose to do that, but
See,
we'll,
we
I
said
think it's
seven.
gonna depend on how many letters we have. If we're dealing with 10 letters, I mean, whatever.
Some people get 70 applications.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
And they only grant.
So this is
30.
why,
That means they're sending out 40 denials.
right, so I think this is why the councils too, some of the councils are so happy with this new
Yeah.
process.
We used to get in the upper 30s a few years back. And that's when we had less money than what we're
We've
getting
been under
now.
20 lately.
And the
Most
other thing I
people
thought
got
was
100
interesting, and this is
200.
just an aside, it seemed, I got a sense that the majority do not fully fund these projects. The majority of them
Right.
partial fund.
Right.
I think that's interesting. We'll just
Right.
keep it in mind.
And
But
again, as another, not an agenda item, but as an aside in conversation with Jennifer Atwood, our representative at the Mass Council, she said that yes, just what she said, that a lot of them, that rarely does the council fully fund. Secondly, we had a question about whether or not applicants, because we did see charges, and yes, an applicant can charge admission.
you know
They
where it
are
says,
allowed.
if we don't grant you the full amount, do you have a way to meet
How are
your...
we gonna,
And they can charge tickets.
they can charge.
You can charge
They can charge, and they can also sell, like if they have CDs or whatever, or
Yeah.
T-shirts, or they can sell that at the event
Which
as
we thought
well.
was interesting.
So these are different ways for them to be able to still have the event, because we want to be able to promote them still having it, even if
But
they don't get.
only if it's not fully funded.
They have to submit a budget.
They have to
The
submit-
budget has to balance.
It's part of the application.
And
Yeah.
that's new. That it has to be completed or it's not going to
If the
fly.
budget is over what they're requesting,
Right, then they have to find another way to make up that loss.
okay.
So that was very interesting too on the application, is that it's nothing new. It was on the old application. However, a lot of times they wouldn't fill it out.
Right.
Whereas
Okay.
now, they're required.
Well, for example, the one we had, the fanfare brass choir, they said if we don't fully fund it, they cannot come.
And that's when we as a
That's-
council
they
have
should
to
say
make,
it.
yeah, and we have to make a decision as to whether or not, how valuable is it to the community for us to fully fund it versus, okay, sorry, we have other programs.
That was the one at the Grange. Yeah.
No, it's the
no,
one we
the-
went to at
Yeah.
Tavern. Yeah.
I mean, Tavern.
Yes.
And that, they came quite a distance.
Yes,
They came from all over
And
the
there's quite a
state.
few of them. You can see that.
The other thing that was interesting, which I don't think we would consider, but some of them set a ceiling on how much their top application, and she said, we can put $3,000 and you can count on every single application that comes in. They want $3,000. So we probably should just not even mention that. I would just,
Well,
When you only have 5,000 to give.
when I went to a meeting one time, they said that they put on their list of
Yeah.
requirements, where they tell them most applications are not funded beyond $500.
Yeah, that's
So-
kind of hard when you set.
I think we should stay away
Yeah.
from money dollar amounts completely.
Because
Let's
you
be
don't always know
surprised.
how much you're going to get.
Well, it's-
And you don't know how many applications you're going to get.
No, it's like the time that we had two for over $1,000 each.
Right.
And we got less than what we're getting now.
Right.
You can't do it, and if they can't do it, if they can sell their wares, then
Right,
they
and they can charge.
take a chance.
Right. And they
I
have
don't
to
know how the
check.
town will feel about that, though. They're so used to not.
Right,
That would be interesting.
right. But
Anyway,
we'll have to see how it
Or
goes.
just pass the bucket like they do at some of these summer concerts.
Yes, donations
Am I
also
gonna get any more specific information about the publicity?
about the, yes. Okay,
yes, you are.
there is a press release online, a sample press release.
and we're welcome to use it
And we're welcome
word
to
for
use
word.
it word for word or adjust it to our needs. So, Joan, if you want to look for that, and if you have trouble finding it, let me know.
Okay.
Online samples of going to set paper for newspapers, what I wrote.
Okay?
She said, I think there's two choices for press releases. So you're going to take care of that sometime this month?
It has to be published before, well,
September
it's supposed to
1st.
be out by September 1st. And I know we've delayed because we're waiting to find out more
But I
about the
could do
online
it.
and
I
what
could
we were
do
going
it
to do.
anytime, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and,
So where do we normally send it? We send it to
I was just gonna mention it,
the
yeah.
Webster Times?
I send to the Webster Times, and I believe I give a request to the selectman secretary for the cable access
Okay,
to be publicized,
okay.
and maybe for our own.
And then we've had it in the TNG at some point.
I've tried.
I've seen it.
Yes.
Have you? Because I
It's in the
send it, but
newspaper.
I haven't noticed it. I've missed it.
I mean, we're at their
And I
mercy as to what they're going to
usually
print
look.
anyway.
You know
so-
what's a good little paper is that we get free, that flyer, that Yankee.
The Yankee
Yankee
Shopper.
Shopper.
Express.
Do they do
Yankee
something?
Express and Smart Shopper, it has been advertising, they're willing, yes.
All right,
So
so
do
we,
do you put it in there?
I would
Okay.
consider that.
Yep.
So Smart Shopper.
Because that comes right in your mailbox. Everybody sure gets
Okay,
it.
and
Yeah.
Yankee.
Where the telegram
Joe,
is pricing
that
itself.
telegram
That's
is
local,
sad.
you know, it's not necessarily going to some of these performers we have.
The Telegram Gazette publishes it in their Go section. In fact, I read it this morning about it's just a little itty bitty thing that says Doolin at the Black Tavern, Sunday.
Oh, they'll post that.
Yeah, no, we're talking
But the
about the fact
actual-
that
the actual
we're
post.
open
The
for
press release
applications,
about the deadline.
that we're accepting applications.
It's-
Oh,
and
I
deadlines.
thought
We
you were
used-
talking about their
Yeah,
publicity.
no,
No, because
kind
they're
of-
responsible for that.
It's
not
kind
us.
of a community,
I've seen it in the Sunday paper that Sunday that we went. It was up in the little
Mhm.
corner. So yeah, they
but
do.
it's
we
kind
get-
of a, it's not an actual occurrence, a happening. It's something
Right.
they need to do for us, so
It's just an
it's a
announcement.
little
Yeah.
tricky.
Well-
But they're used to receiving stuff from me from the Music Guild, because I do
Okay.
publicity for the Music Guild.
Okay,
So they'll.
And I know where to send it.
that's good.
It's,
We're
I
thankful
sent
for
it
that.
for Telegram Towns, and it's called submissions@telegram.com is the email address. But I never noticed it happening. I didn't call.
Well, I'm sure it
Okay,
does. I feel
so
it does.
you're going to take care of making sure that there's the press release and the publicity about the fact that we're now accepting
Oh, yeah.
all applications.
Yeah, I'm glad there's some open to go
Yes,
by.
there'll be
Okay.
some a release there.
This is interesting too. This is on this page here. Applicants will receive an email. These are all the previous people that they have email addresses on, with a PDF attachment of their completed applications. LCCs will receive a complete blah 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 November 1st. But it says coming September 1st. Apply now. LCC application online. And it was a big yellow. So every one of those applicants is going to get one of those in the mail. So the state is also letting
Deadline
them know.
is October 17th,
Yes.
but the application is
open on
not
September 1st.
available till.
Opens the
September
website
1st.
will not be available for them to apply. They can go in and look at the samples, but they cannot actually start the application process till September 1st, which is really just 3 weeks away.
Yeah.
Does
Okay.
it say anything about viewing the sample ahead of time in that press release?
I'm not sure. I haven't read
Okay,
it.
I can't step to
I
it.
haven't read it. Okay, any other questions about publicity?
This is cycle 43, right? That's what you're-
43, okay.
Now we come to the tricky part.
Okay, the website changes. What they've done is they've removed everything that we've had on our website, on our local pages, up until now. Our names are still there, but as far as like all the written guidelines and the priorities and
There wasn't anything there.
and it was kind of like it needed to be changed. And Marilyn and I tried to change it because it still said we're welcoming Nancy back, and she's been here for a year.
And
so.
I've tried and I couldn't make it change. And
Fiscal year
Right,
13 grants.
exactly.
It was-
It'll be on there.
So we couldn't make that. We sat together and was saying, what are we doing wrong? We can't do it. We can't go in it. We can't change it. Well, we called Jennifer, and basically, oh yeah, they had locked everything down because
They
they were
didn't
making
tell
all
us.
the changes.
When you think about it, they didn't tell us they did that.
No, they didn't. So
Then
they
we
said
had to look like
after
dummies.
a date in July, we would be able to go in and update it. So we've waited because we needed to have this meeting first. And we needed to know if we wanted to think about changing any of our guidelines? Do we want to just basically go with what we've had?
See, it says right here, it says interested in applying, the next deadline is October 17th. So they're not messing, they're doing their own
Yeah,
blitz with letting everybody know when this is,
I think they've really done a good job with it so far.
it's 3 very young girls.
I think if we read through what we have, and decide
Right. And so
how we want to change each one.
Well, I think it should be brief. I don't think it should be too wordy.
One
'Cause then
thing,
you're asking.
one thing that I thought this morning is that unless we have something specific that one of us now wants to bring up to use as a guideline, in addition to what we've already had, perhaps Marilyn and I could work on it offline, do a draft, send it all out email
To you guys.
to you guys, you know, and to all 7 of us, and just get some feedback from you. And then we can post it. We have to have it posted by September 1st.
We only have 5 sentences.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's really a whole,
I mean, I think we could go through it now because I don't see where we're.
do we have
to
copies
make
of
a
it?
lot of,
I don't have a copy.
That's what I was trying to get up, but this is not, it's not moving fast.
Because not everybody's here either, and this would get a chance to get input
I mean,
from
the
2
ones
other
on-
people.
I'll just read them.
Read it.
I mean, it's not,
Why don't you read it?
the first one is for fiscal year 13, so we need to say that, or shall we
It's
just?
17.
um,
Oh, we
should we just-
probably don't even need to say it.
I wouldn't.
The current year.
Right.
The program must take place within the calendar year January 1st to December 31st.
We don't need that because that's a state guideline, right? See, those things we're gonna have to go back and check. We're gonna have to have our list of the state guidelines because they don't want us to repeat anything that's in the state guideline.
All right.
Yeah, I
And
think
then,
your idea of putting a draft
Doing a
together.
draft.
Yeah.
and then any school or organization submitting multiple requests for funding must prioritize their projects. Otherwise, the DCC will prioritize according to our judgment. Remember, we used to get a lot of them from the school, and we said, how do we pick and choose just the
Well,
ones we
and
want?
we-
We haven't gotten that many lately.
So that's one of our
always
local
get-
guidelines.
We always get multiple senior senators requests and
So maybe,
sometimes libraries.
so that we
sometimes-
probably would just keep
but-
it.
That would change it. Yeah.
So,
You know.
was anything mentioned about multiple requests?
No.
No. They can submit as many requests as they want.
But
Nobody-
yeah,
they
but
don't
they don't prioritize. Otherwise,
No.
if they don't, we will. So maybe it is a good idea,
Right.
To put
especially like the senior center. Which one do you really want? Or, you know,
Yeah, I suppose.
Gee, I never noticed that though, haven't seen those.
We've never
then
seen
it's,
it.
No. And that's
Well, basically what that guideline says is if you don't tell us what your priorities are, we're just gonna go on our best judgment.
number
Who's
3
going to go on
was
the best
The
judgment?
council, the
Us.
Dudley Council.
these are the ones I'm reading. These are ours.
These,
Okay.
Activities and cultural events that take place must reach the largest potential audiences. Because that one time was a problem when someone wasn't funded because it only encompassed like 7 to 10 people.
You know why I can't open LCC program information? Because it's not loaded yet.
The event must have a specific date, time, and location. The DCC gives priority to applicants that have secured an event date and venue location.
How can we change
Okay.
that one about
That-
specific date, time?
Right. I think we should
open-
change.
Broaden that a little bit.
I think we should say something like proposed date, because they said they were very open to accepting even something that says fall of 2016, because they understand that applicants, when they're applying, they're not going to book a date until they know for sure that they're going to get funded sometimes.
Could we say something like, specific date is not, is something, this isn't the right wording, but is nice, but if you can do it, but if you can't, a reasonable time frame is acceptable.
Well, I think what we'll do, if you continue reading, we'll see if there's agreement on keeping what's there, and we'll just basically
Expand
reword
it.
it, draft it, send it out, let everybody look at
May I
it.
ask a question?
Sure.
Venue, do they require the applicant to come up with, provide the date that the performance will take place?
No.
No,
That's-
the venue, because we want the applicant to state the venue.
Correct.
Yes, we
Right.
do.
Correct,
But
we want the
venue
venue.
does not have to have, they applicant does not have to have a date set with the venue.
Correct.
But that would be
have
up to the venue,
that would be-
basically.
right,
To say
exactly.
that you can perform there, but the
Correct.
venue does not.
They don't have to have a final date.
Well, the last two said the event must have a specific date, time, and location, and the last one says the DCC, which is us, gives priority to applicants that have secured an event date and venue location.
So that doesn't make sense.
No, that's like,
That's saying that we require it, but then it says we'll give priority to those that have.
Right,
So,
so,
yeah.
but even
We
there,
need to-
that's something that
yeah,
needs
we
to
can
be
combine
worked
that.
out.
updated.
I would like to add that I'd like to get the reimbursement forms, say,
Yeah.
within 60 days after the program.
Is there something?
I don't know if we can do that. We can check.
I think you can, because we've done it.
The
The letter, when it goes out on our letter,
the
on our,
state says they can take up to a year, but you're
well, we
carrying
can
all that
do, we
money.
can override that and do a local guideline for we want ours within a certain time frame.
What do we do if we don't get it?
Nancy calls them, which she shouldn't
I've
have
called,
to do.
I've called them, and when I was on the council years ago, we had somebody not put in their reimbursement, and we carried an extra $200 for, for 2 years. I mean, it's sitting there, you can't spend it, you have to remember it's encumbered. And,
It's harder to keep track.
Yeah,
You know.
carryovers are hard.
What
Three
about,
months.
as I'm thinking of it, I'm sorry. The reimbursement form is not changing.
Oh,
With
that's
this
the same?
application, they did specify the reimbursement form, they're not doing anything with
No,
that this year.
Okay.
It's not gonna be online, it's not gonna be, it's
So
not gonna
we
be
can still
electronic.
say that in our acceptance. First of all, we can say it when we send them a letter, congratulations, you've gotten your grant, but keep in mind that we have, is it 60? I didn't even think it was that much. I thought it was 30 days that we were allowing.
I prefer 30, but I mean,
Yeah, that's kinda hard.
60,
because-
if someone's gone away or
So
some
they
such
can't
thing.
fill it in online.
No.
No, they cannot complete the reimbursement online.
No.
Not
Say,
this year.
if I can get in touch with the presenters,
And they send it to
I
you?
tell them to bring the reimbursement form with you to your presentation. If they're the ones that are requesting the money, if they're not getting paid by, say the library, they're not getting paid by the library, or, they are getting paid direct themselves. If they bring that form with them, and I know I'm going to be there, I can take that immediately, process it, and then they have their money within a short amount of time.
Okay.
And
All right,
Okay,
so
we
all
can,
that.
we'll figure that out. And like I said, anything else that we want to add other than,
What else does it say? Is that it?
that's it. That's all we had.
So we'll look at
so we'll,
what they're recommending. too.
yeah, we'll put, because they also have given us, oh, you know what? I think I do have a copy here. I'm sorry. I think I took it.
Now here, these are the old guidelines. It says applicants are responsible for arranging the date, time, place, and publicity for their program.
And that's, I believe,
That's the state requirement.
that's,
Right.
The publicity.
right.
But the
So that's
publicity,
on that.
all they did is sent a picture of a poster online.
What do you mean?
Like
That's,
Doolin
Yeah.
Oh,
sent
yeah.
a picture, to the, Bob
the-
at the tavern.
Oh,
that's
to
their
the
publicity.
Now,
I think I saw
but
it,
now, that's just one.
but I think I saw it in the paper, like Sundays.
Right.
Yeah.
Who is responsible for making up those posters?
Well, the Black
and
Tavern
getting
does
them
its
around
own
town?
little, they send
And
newsletters
the-
out,
and the-
keep people
right.
updated.
And the library also has, on their website, a list of all their programs, whether
Plus
they're
they do
funded,
their marquee.
no matter who the funding is. So, I'm not sure that I'm following what you're saying. Are you
Well, when
saying
you
that we
send-
want to require them to do more publicity, or?
Well, I think so, because when we, from the tavern, request something, Bob makes up the posters. We give Bob all the information, he makes up the posters, and then he gives them back to us and we spread them around town. If, in the case of like Doolin, he sent a copy, that somebody from the tavern said, Bob, would make and then spread them around town. I haven't seen any around town that they themselves have put up.
I
Okay.
get your point.
Yeah.
That's something
But
between
see,
the Black
that's-
Tavern
Right.
and
That's
and
between the
Goodwin.
applicant and the venue.
I don't think we can get involved in that.
No, because that's why we're saying here that the responsibility is up to the applicant. If the applicant wants the venue to help them with publicity and distribution, they have to work that out with them.
Yeah,
And if there's a cost involved, that has to be in their budget for
Right.
publicity. Or if it's a cost for printing 500 posters, that has to be between them and the
I'm
venue.
assuming most of them don't want to spend that extra money on publicity, which
Right,
is
well,
why
I
they don't
mean,
put
I
it in the budget.
understand, you know, they sent one, but it's their responsibility, not Bob's, to get it.
Correct.
Of course.
Absolutely.
You know, not up to
Absolutely.
the tavern because it's
Yep.
being held there. you
Right.
know.
Right.
But the tavern chooses to do that because that's your protocols. That's what the tavern does. I don't
Well,
know,
we're,
I mean,
for this particular one, we're only providing the venue.
Oh,
We
Right.
did not pay in for this.
Oh, okay.
This is.
So that changes things a little too.
Well, that's what I'm saying, you know,
Yeah.
when they, you know, they came to us and they asked if they could use the tavern as their venue.
Right, because something happened.
But we've also had two
Slash
people
material.
apply for programs, you know, from the tavern. So then they would do their own publicity. But when someone just uses
Yeah.
your, you know.
The
Then it just
venue has
being-
no responsibility for providing.
So if they don't want to, if the venue doesn't want to, then they're not
Right.
obligated. It's up to the person that's
Right.
getting the grant.
Many choose to because they certainly want.
Yeah,
that,
they want-
you
they
know,
don't want the place to
participation.
be
And the more exposure they get,
Right.
the
Right.
better, the better.
Right.
for them.
Right, but they shouldn't
But
have
they're
the
not required.
responsibility.
No.
And they should not have to incur any expense unless they've already agreed to it with the applicant.
So if Bobby wants to do it, that's
That's
great.
Yeah, but I, you know, I'm just saying.
Okay, these are also online. These are some sample council priorities, which they're now calling, they're no longer called guidelines. They're called, everything that we're putting on our page is called council priorities. So sample priorities. The town, well, the Dudley Cultural Council, for example, gathers input from the community yearly and develops funding priorities based on this feedback. This year, the Dudley Cultural Council will give priority to, they have number one, applicants that have secured a local venue, projects that serve youth or the elderly, projects that focus on local history. So this was because of their feedback, you know, so this is why we have to compile the feedback, and then maybe we can draft something like that. And that allows us, it makes it easier when you're doing a denial letter, because it doesn't meet, there's one that says it doesn't meet a local guideline, and you can insert that the priorities were this and not teenagers. Our priorities were youth and, children and elderly. So it helps in getting those denial reasons more accurate.
So you don't get any feedback from
Right.
the denial.
In addition to the state criteria applications, applications will be evaluated using the following review criteria. So that's a sample that we could put and then list ours. And what they've given as examples is how well the program meets our local
Which
priorities,
is great,
community support and involvement,
also good.
evidence of track record and dedication of the applicant.
That's a good one we've never talked about.
Right. Right. Ability to address the diverse cultural needs of the community's underserved populations or support diverse forms of cultural activities. Financial need.
That's another one we've never considered. How do they justify it?
Right, that's hard. Because who's to say that this applicant has more financial need than the other?
And who's
just
to say
because
if the
they're
ceiling is $3,000 and not
Right.
applying, okay.
and just because they're applying for 500 and they tell us they can only do it for, or maybe the one that told us that they couldn't do it if they didn't get the whole 650 or whatever it was. How do we know that their financial need? I mean, we don't have, go back.
If it's their
word.
livelihood, if it's their livelihood, I think.
Right, you know,
But
I don't know, we have to
But-
maybe think about that one.
yeah.
I think that's a little kind of frightening.
And the other one says demonstrated planning.
Ask somebody if they were doing staff.
So, in other words, okay, demonstrated planning is that if it's a local criteria, I would say that when we're looking at the applications, that they really have thought about how they're gonna supplement the funding, they've planned to do in-kind,
Oh, they're gonna do their
Are they
publicity, they're gonna
right.
do it.
you know, so.
So those are all very
I
good,
think
I like
those are
every
all,
one of them.
You know,
I think another one too would be to kind of favor local groups and organizations that do apply,
You can.
rather than outsiders. Not,
You need somebody, yeah, you need anybody, well, first of all, we can't take anybody from out of state. I guess they can, if the
Well,
applicant is out of state, you
the
can. If the applicant is in state,
State.
you can. If the applicant is out of state, that flies.
You can't take it if the applicant is out of state.
Right.
The applicant, and that's, yeah, but the contact person can be out of state.
Yes.
So in other
Has to be
words,
in-state.
pardon?
in-state.
Oh, no, it can be out of state.
The applicant has to be from Massachusetts, but the contact person that's leader of the band, for example, happens to come from New Hampshire. That's your contact person, that's okay.
That's okay. Yeah.
Like the Rhode Island Fiddlers.
Exactly.
Exactly.
The Grange.
The Grange was
put
the
in for
applicant.
them.
That's
The
right.
Grange was the
That's a
applicant.
perfect example.
But they
Yes.
themselves, the Rhode Island Fiddlers,
Correct.
cannot put in an
Apply.
application.
Right. Can't be the reverse.
Right.
Right.
And so our reimbursement is to the Grange, not to the Fiddlers.
Right.
That's why he's waiting for his check
So
back.
they,
What'd you say?
That's why he's waiting for his canceled check back, because he hasn't applied for his reimbursement, because the Fiddlers haven't cashed their check, or they.
Well, I don't know. I mean,
I mean, does he need to provide a canceled check? When he-
Yes.
When he, okay, so that's why he hasn't submitted it yet.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So these are just to give people ideas. So, you know, like I said, I think if we put together a draft within maybe the next
And then
week.
the other thing, it's not etched in stone. If we
Right.
decide it doesn't work after we do this grant period, we're gonna say, okay, we gotta do something else.
These can be updated and changed every year. Okay. So everybody in agreement with that? We'll do a draft, we'll send it out to everybody, review them, give us
Yeah.
your feedback, and then we'll post them.
Sounds good.
And it has to all be done by September 1st. And I'm gone for like 10 days.
And your schedule, your number 6 here, schedule the next meeting.
When are you going?
Tomorrow through towards the end of August.
Do you have access to email while you're going?
At times. So, at times.
Okay, because I'm
Not
going to try to
consistent.
get this done. I'm leaving on the 19th.
You mean on the 19th?
I'm leaving on the 28th.
And I'll do what I can too. I'm
And
not
I'll be
going
back
anywhere.
on the 28th, but
Okay.
I'm going to try to get this all out to everybody before the 19th. So if at some point in time you can check your email
Yeah.
and just get back to us.
I will.
Okay, thank you.
And if you have no comments, and everybody always comments, it's okay, whatever. But comment, because then you know that, we know that you've gotten it, because sometimes, especially based on history, you're not sure. Okay, so do we need to meet again before September 1st? If we do
I
this
don't
by
believe
email,
so.
I don't think so either.
I don't think so.
Okay, I agree.
We have a fall meeting set.
No,
No,
we
we don't.
usually have one, do we usually have one in September? Late September, I think we do.
Well, we do because,
We wait
I think
until,
last year was around the 15th.
but what would we do at that meeting?
Oh, it's usually just organizational. Probably just,
We don't have any,
we don't have all the applications.
we're not going to have any applications.
So
We're not going to see
we're not
those.
changing our.
We're not going to see those applications until November 1st.
So we don't need to
So
meet
we
in
don't need a
September
meeting
or
until
October,
November.
really. Wow, that's gonna be,
It's going to be a crunch time, November.
yeah,
December.
November and the first week in December. And again, I always like to get stuff done, but Denise isn't gonna be gone
I'll be here.
the early part of January anyway.
Last year, you gave us the sexual harassment policy thing. We talked some admin things about the staffs, and then this is September 18th. And
I
then,
think, do we have to do that
and I
sexual
just
harassment?
reported that I
every year?
did the publicity.
Right, because we had talked about the publicity and all of that, right?
So we've done that here,
We've
because we
already
didn't have
done
an
that.
August meeting last
Right.
year. So we can go.
I think this is the meeting that would have normally been held in.
So, right, I'd say yes to that. So then, do we need early, we need as early in November as we can. No, we can't. The best we can do is the second week, because the deadline to copy them all off and have everybody read them and be ready will be the second week in November, I think. Because then if we don't, we'll be getting into Thanksgiving.
Their application to file is the 17th.
Correct. Of
Correct.
October.
And then we will have our panel book no later than November 1st. So we should count on November 1st. If we get them earlier, so much the better.
Right.
So if we get
Don't
them
forget, you
November,
have election on.
Right. We have to
8th.
work around the 8th. And
okay.
Veterans Day, they close. We never meet on Friday anyway.
What about Wednesday the 9th or
Sure.
Thursday the 10th?
By then, we're either going to be crying or smiling. November 9th sounds good to me.
What works better for everybody?
10 is good for me.
Wednesday,
Is the 9th
Thursday.
good for
The 9th is
you,
okay.
Joanne? A
Alright.
Wednesday? Or is a Thursday better?
Let's see. I might be working the election, and who knows how late that goes.
Yeah, that could be.
I'm going to be working the election too.
Yeah, and who knows.
I
but-
wouldn't do it the 9th. Don't
but-
do that.
but
No,
it's
no,
also-
no.
but
Not the 9th. The 9th is
we're-
Tuesday.
I'm
I'm
not
sorry.
gonna be
The 8th is
around
Tuesday.
Towards the end of that week also for.
This is important for you
Yeah,
to
I
be
know.
here for this.
That's
so.
why I'm saying that the 9th or 10th.
Okay,
Because
when
I-
are you not going to be here?
We were looking at leaving towards the end of that week.
Like,
How about in the
by the end of the
afternoon?
week, what do you mean?
Well,
Thursday,
that's-
Friday?
That's where, if we set up the meeting, soon after the 8th, then
What
we'll
about,
just
well, what about
postpone
Wednesday the
because it's
9th?
a road
What if we
trip.
did it the 9th in the afternoon? Nothing
I
says
don't
it
know,
has
what
to
do
be
you
in
wanna
morning.
do, Nancy?
Yeah,
But-
to the afternoon, like.
Wednesday the
2
9th?
o'clock.
In the afternoon.
Okay.
Would you prefer the 10th in the morning?
It's not if she's taken off.
Well, see, that's it. I mean, we could, it's on the road, so we can take off.
Right.
Right, it doesn't have to, we don't have an airplane to catch.
Right.
That's
gotcha.
So that's where we have the flexibility.
This is a
but-
long meeting, though. I mean,
This takes a while.
Yeah.
So we say 2 o'clock. Should we say 1:30 in case it is too long? A long meeting, or it's 2 o'clock?
1:30 is
We
good.
could, we could start 1 o'clock.
Depending, well, I'm thinking, yeah, 1 o'clock's good too.
Okay.
Why don't we say 1?
Okay, 1 p.m. on 9th.
Wednesday the 9th.
And that has to be checked out.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
get it ready.
Michelle or Aura.
Yeah.
I kind of think Michelle's been letting Aura. We used to go to Aura now, and I think they talk to each other. So
Yeah, we'll check with Michelle and then if we need to go to Oral, we will. Okay, is there any other business to be discussed? Any other questions, any other business?
I'm trying to think.
Again, I would encourage everybody to go to the website, look at it. There's so much information there, so many links. It's like all of a sudden I'm 15 pages down from where I started.
Yeah, and it can be
It gets a little overwhelming at
I
times.
went in and it just,
It's hard to search through.
figure out where you want to go to.
Yeah.
But
Sometimes
it
it's better
is
to go
very
just for
worthwhile.
specific.
Yeah, just to play around.
Did everybody take a look at what this dummy application is?
Oh, I have one other thing that I wanted to show everybody. Sorry, before we adjourn.
Oh, this is the poster.
This is a poster that we picked up yesterday, and I'm sorry now that I didn't take more, but maybe we can get some more.
Oh,
This is a poster
because-
that they are so proud of, the Mass Cultural Council, that they have just now released. And they're encouraging councils to post them and distribute it. What it says is mass festivals.
Yeah. I was
Okay.
wondering what the specific designs were. Like, I
There's
can't
a
see
map.
them.
all
sorry.
kinds of things.
It's all kinds of things.
Like
It's
my
the
house.
shape of the state,
Yeah.
and it's got dancing, and
Okay,
it's
so
got
like,
trumpets, so
like
it's all the
farming.
different cultural activities that are going on through the state. And
What
what-
about that art fair that Shepherd Hill has? Would they
I don't know if they would qualify for this. They might, and maybe I should talk to somebody about that. It's artsboston.org/massfestivals is the website. And what I looked at it this morning, and what it does is it lists all of the festivals that are going on in the state, so that you've got all of that in one place. So some of the examples. Show it to the TV.
Everybody get one.
Artsfestivals.org.
And so
Festivals?
some of the things that are listed, it's artsboston.org.
Oh, I
that's Boston.
Just as an example of some of the things that are posted there, it gives you all the information about all these different festivals that have been funded. There's the Newbury Chamber Music Festival, the Plymouth Waterfront Festival, the 10th Annual Film Festival, I forgot where that was, Newburyport, I think. Oh, that was in Newbury. The Newbury Chamber Music Festival. So these are all festivals that various towns and cities
Reminds me
within
of
the
a
state
Seinfeld
have. Festival. And so it allows people to go to that one website and see everything that's going on in the state in terms of festivals that have been approved by the council. So I thought it was quite interesting because it's like, oh, okay, and it's from the Berkshires to the Cape.
Ask Jennifer to send you some.
I'm sorry?
Ask Jennifer Albert to send you some.
Where are we going to put that?
Yes.
In a key place, probably put it at the library.
Can we put, yes, I was thinking, Park and Shop has a bulletin board. I don't know if there's someplace here. Can we post anything here in the
Downstairs,
town
there's a
hall?
bulletin board, but I don't know whether anybody can post it.
Yeah, but we can check
I know
with
there's
Michelle.
one in the senior area.
Yeah, we can put it in the senior center.
There's one, Laura puts one near her office.
So you'd have to make copies.
So I'll ask Jennifer to send us some.
Slash.
Can a link like that be put on our webpage, our Dudley
Oh.
webpage?
Yes, we certainly could put that information there. That's a good idea. We can ask, who is doing our local page? Deb Thibodeau?
Yes.
You can
I
ask
went
her to
there and
post that
there's-
information about the website. I could write up a blurb and send it to her. That's a good idea.
Is our local website, Dudley website, active? I went in
Yes.
there and it just has our,
It just has our names.
yeah, is that all that's there right now?
Okay, well, we can ask
Well, I
her.
didn't know because you said.
I gave her a list of the grants too. That's on the.
I didn't see it. Is the
I
grant?
saw that, I thought it was the mass one. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe that's where I saw September 8th on that.
There you go.
Maybe that's where that popped up.
But
I
it
can-
gives, everybody in town, hey, what am I doing this weekend? Let's see what's going on,
Yeah,
This is Fairs
That's
and
me,
Festivals in Eastern
Mhm.
Massachusetts.
So, and what it does is it gives you a link to the actual website for that particular festival so that you can get more information.
Right.
But it lists the dates, the town, all of that. So I thought that was quite interesting.
Did we adjourn the meeting yet or not?
No, we did not.
Okay.
And we said-
Right, the time.
Okay,
We're all set for the 9th at 1 o'clock
yes,
for the vote, for the voting. I guess I'll call it.
for our
Grant
meeting.
application.
Grant,
Yeah.
review, grant list review.
okay, we ready to adjourn? Anybody motion to adjourn?
I'll
I have
make
a
a
question.
motion. Oh, go
How
ahead.
do we show that we've accepted these, the applications?
We go back in.
Yeah.
I think that's the only thing that we have to do. I'm not sure, did she?
They didn't expound on that.
No.
It's just about, they said nothing changed beyond the applications. So I'm assuming, never assumed, but that we will go on and be able to fill that, complete that part of it, just
The
like we
annual
always did.
report, instead of having to list all of our applicants, it'll already be there. We just have to go in and
Yes,
say,
Except-
fill in the amount that we funded
Yeah.
or not funded.
Yeah.
Okay, motion to adjourn has been made on the table.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.